Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. And let me just, before I go into my little monologue, let me just tell you what the show is going to be about. Then I want to talk a little something, and then we'll get directly into the show. Today's show is titled Expanding the Courts. Republicans ignore citizens' Medicaid expansion vote. Minimum wage. And all that it entails. People cannot pay bills, etc., etc., etc. Anyhow, welcome aboard, Michael Rutnan. New York legalizes recreational marijuana, expunges former pot convictions. Awesome. That should have been done a long time ago. If you can drink alcohol, why the hell is a joint illegal? If you can damage your liver, why isn't a joint allowable? Let me tell you, I don't smoke marijuana. I don't do drugs, but I don't want to impose or take away anybody's freedom. Seems like a lot of the people who don't want their freedom treaded on, they don't mind telling you, you can have some alcohol, but you can't have a joint. You can't have marijuana. You cannot have ganja. You cannot have the Panama Red. Why is that? I don't know. I am for the full legalization of drugs, not because I want to take it or because I want any of my relatives to take it, in that I just think if we are going to be a country that allows alcohol, something that kills thousands upon tens of thousands of people every year, why shouldn't we allow folks, if they want to do drugs in their homes, to stop as long as they're not hurting anybody? What's the problem? You know, we are such a hypocritical country. It's the reason why we have so many psychological problems. Michael Rudnan says 2 Capitol Police officers sue Trump for sparking January 6th mob attack. I saw that. The lawsuit is for $75,000 to cover damages for injuries sustained that they due to the insurrection Trump incited. That day, Trump that insurrection. If he gets $75,000, he's getting away for cheap. Michael Rudnan also says Biden wants to pass $4 trillion infrastructure package, build back better over the summer. This is just below the minimum requirements of $5 trillion within a decade. After the pandemic ends through herd immunity via vaccination, this summer, Biden and the Democrats will have an access of political capital to spend, making the lives of the people better for the effort. AV Cube. Bruce Pollard, Peep, how you doing? You are our Peep, Bruce, you know that. And Breeze MCP, she doesn't say Peep, she says Beep, I'm here. Eric Hayes says, bond reform majority needed as hardened repeat offenders are getting out even on murder. I think you need to get off of the bond stuff and start thinking about things that are real and material to people. The bond thing, we are going to take care of it at Commissioner's Court. Thank you very much. Title is different here on YouTube. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. YouTube has the wrong title. And you know what? You know why it has the wrong title? Because yours truly forgot to set the title correctly. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the screw up that I made is actually fixed. But while I fix that, I can actually talk. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a bit shook up. And when I say shook up, I'm not talking figuratively. I'm talking materially. You know, I've been watching the case here on TV, and it was going fine. And yes, they talk about the things, and it goes and it goes. Let's see. I think I corrected the title, guys. So the title is corrected now. So everybody should see the correct title on the show now. So let me know if you guys see the corrected title. I'm going to, shoot, I refreshed the wrong, I didn't refresh the wrong one. Let me go ahead and refresh to see if that title showed up correctly now. Para ver, immigration force debunked. Wow, why didn't it update? Anyhow, I did go ahead and change the title. So in the long run, it should change sometime, I imagine. So let's see. Expanding the courts is what the title should be. Okay. Hey guys, I went ahead and made a mistake and refreshed my message page. And now I lost all your messages. So please start sending messages again. I screwed up in updating the thing and I didn't do it right. I updated the wrong page. So the right page is going to be up shortly. Anyhow, let me first tell you guys, okay? I'm watching this thing. And I swear to you, I thought I saw all the tapes of that murder by a cop. I really thought I saw all the tapes. And the one that I saw today, I'll just be honest with you. I cried like a baby with George Floyd being pushed out of the car, thrown on the ground with everything on him. I just couldn't take it. I just couldn't believe what was happening. If you guys get a chance to see how this human being was treated, I urge you to go see it. Because I guarantee you, you won't believe what you're seeing. You won't believe that another human being could treat another human being the way you're seeing right now. I tried to play brave as I watched it at first. And I kept on hearing this guy call for his mother. And as he called for his mother, I couldn't take it. I genuinely couldn't take it. I imagine they're going to have that all over TV later on. I think it's the first time I saw a murder so closed up on TV. In other words, what you are watching is a real murder. And it's very, very hard to watch. Because you're seeing somebody talking who you know is eventually dead. I couldn't take it. Anyhow, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, but let's go ahead and play the first video from Sheila Jackson Lee, and then we'll take it on the other side. And if I'm a bit incoherent today, just understand that watching this on TV has had a material effect on me. Just watching this guy murdered in real time, watching it has really had an effect on me. But anyhow, let's listen to Sheila and then we'll go on the other side. It was wonderful seeing a member of the Judiciary Committee, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, with the statement that she made about the Supreme Court. I want you to listen to this, not only the Supreme Court, about all the courts, but specifically the Supreme Court. Listen to this and then let's go ahead and take it on the other side, because I think this is very important.
Courts have not been a lifeline. In fact, they have pulled the rug from underneath justice, civil rights, and equality in many of the cases that have gone before the courts. I am grateful now that we have the opportunity to, in quotes, intermingle these nominees to be just as balanced as any other person could be on the court.
Well, thank you for making the case for why diversity matters in our judiciary. Before we run out of time, less than a minute left, I've got to ask, What do you make of growing chatter on op-ed pages here in Washington, D.C., that Justice Breyer should retire so that we don't get another RBG situation, so that Joe Biden will get a Supreme Court nomination and not the next, perhaps, Republican president? The last one appointed 3 in 4 years.
You know, as a member of the Judiciary Committee, in fact, one of our subcommittees just last week had a hearing on diversity. I'd make the argument that it is not my position to speak to the retirement of Supreme Court justices, but it is important to make the point that the court is long overdue for the appointment of a Black woman, which President Biden has indicated that he would be interested in doing. And so I'm going to be waiting patiently. And as well, I happen to be one of those that believes that the court would not be hurt by expanding the court. Let's see what will happen.
Well said, well said. Court expansion is a topic that needs to be discussed more. I'm glad you raised it. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad you heard me now.
Now, in a country as large as the United States, to have 9 men or 9 people, 3 women, first of all, it should be more women than men on the Supreme Court. But the fact that we only have 9 in a country this large, but worse, the fact that most of them were appointed by presidents who garnered less than the majority of the popular American vote means that we are not only undemocratic in the Senate, we're also undemocratic in the Supreme Court. And as we know, the Supreme Court holds a lot of power. The legislature and the executive can pass bills and pass laws. But if this particular Supreme Court comes out and says that law is unconstitutional, it means 9 people who were elected by the minority of the United States citizens are the ones who determine what is right and wrong in this country, what policies get executed or not. That's not a democracy. That isn't something we should ever be proud of. We need to not only, as Representative Sheila Jackson Lee said there, we must expand the court. Donald Trump and his peons and others, they packed the court. What progressives need to get done is to expand the court, make it a more expansive body that is more representative of the United States of America. We absolutely must do that. The truth of the matter is we cannot have a court that's not representative of the people that it serves. We cannot have a court that was actually placed there by the minority of the population. And the truth of the matter is we do need, Paul Fleming says, we do need to make D.C. and Puerto Rico states. Absolutely so. That would give us 4 senators, likely 4 senators that lean more on the progressive side. Because again, this is not a conservative country. This is a progressive country who by lousy design, by non-democratic design, has allowed minority rule for too long. And that must come to an end. Okay, let me go ahead and start back introducing people again because, like I said, I had some initial problems in the beginning and I did some scroll off. So Michael Rudnin, welcome aboard. Biden seems to be aiming to pass one aspect of the progressive agenda. Check to see how the people react. The expectation is that people will love it when the government works to help them out, then continue to the next one. I agree with that, Rudnin. In other words, let them get a taste of what's good. And they are going to want more good instead of all the crap coming from the right. Absolutely so. Jessica Taylor, welcome aboard. The upgrade of infrastructure is needed. We are so far behind the curve. You know what? I wish more Americans would go to the countries they like to say, oh, those third world countries. Go to Panama City, Panama, where we're building subterranean trains and new infrastructure. Go to Shanghai. Go to all these great metropolitan cities throughout the world. And then go to Kennedy Airport. Or then go to Bush Airport. Or go to all these airports around the United States. And see degradation, old. Things just look old. Not up to par. You know, and the last time I went to China was probably 20 years ago. And I was shocked. And you know, we like to pat ourselves on the back. We are the best. We need more Americans to fly abroad and see what the best starts to look like or what we can turn into. Lee Grant, Brother Grant, hi. Eric, Your stuff you pander is somewhat important, but a local problem you share should be discussed too. Again, I discuss local as well as national problems, and you are correct, Eric Hayes. I will take that. I'll take that as a what would I call what you just said, Eric? That was a constructive criticism. Lately, I've been doing very little local. You're correct. I'm going to try to put probably another 10% more local in there. As far as the bond issue, the reason why I haven't touched the bond issue a whole lot is that they're making a political football out of it. And to put it bluntly, the person I support, generally support, is on your side. So, hey, the Democrats pretty much thinks like you on the bond issue, but we'll talk about that another time. Michael Rodnin, Egberto, which one went away, FB or YouTube? I actually just fixed both of them. Please check both of them to make sure that I have the heading correct. My fault. I am so sorry. Jessica Taylor, I've been following the Chauvin case on Georgia Ford Independent Media page, and she gives great behind-the-scenes info. Thank you very much for that info, Jessica Taylor. I tell you what, I don't know if you watched the live video today, but it was hurtful. I don't cry often. I've got to admit it. This one, I'm looking up in the sky. I'm trying to hold it back. When he started to say, "Mama, Mama," and see that knee on his neck and his face plastered down, all I could think of is being impotent. The evil that was behind that guy that allowed him to do that. The impotence one feels when it comes next to a cop. If you are not a person of color, I have to ask you to empathize to know what it feels like, knowing that you know deep within your soul that any encounter you have with a cop, if it does that cop himself knows, or that cop, I shouldn't say himself, because there's a cop in, I think it was Oklahoma, who killed a guy, a woman cop who killed a guy unnecessarily as well. Her hands up in his ear, and she blew him away. But if you're not a person of color, and let me talk to you, my white brothers and sisters, let me tell you this, because I'm a professional. I'm an engineer, business owner, write books, all of that, and I see a cop today, and my heart is still in my throat. And let me tell you what hurts the most. Knowing that if I am stopped and I am killed, whether right or wrong, that cop knows that the probability of him serving time for killing somebody who looks like me, he stands a damn good chance of just walking. And as such, there is no incentive for him to treat me like he will treat my white brothers and sisters in the aggregate. Don't get me wrong. I wrote a blog where cops went into this white brother's house and blew him away. They thought he was a drug dealer. They blew him away. It also happened here in Houston a few months ago. Somebody kind of reported that this couple were drug dealers or something. They blew them away. But that kind of blown away sort of for cause, These guys want to be glory, glory, hallelujah. They go kill or whatever in the name of in the name of law and order, all that good stuff, right? But for us, it's just a traffic stop. It's just looking somebody wrongly in the eye. It's just saying, why the hell did you stop me? And knowing that if they decide to kill you, there is no recompensa. There's nothing that they're going to have to worry about. And in that situation, it gives them no incentive to be right by you. Now, empathy requires you to feel this. I think the reason why the Chauvin case made such an impact to many is because you can watch Chauvin's knee on that guy's neck until he expires. You can watch Chauvin's knee on his neck until he dies, until he pees his pants, until he does all of this. He keeps his knee on his neck. like he's a dog. I bet he doesn't even treat a dog that way. It shows you the value he believes this guy has. The value of this guy's life was nil. And when you sit in the skin of a person of color, knowing that the authority under which you fall under, if you are under that can happen to you. Not because you did anything wrong, but because this guy had a bad day. And he knows he can take it out on you. And there's a good likelihood he won't have nothing happen to him. And then the white nationalists are going to be, glory, glory, hallelujah. Look at the kid who goes out to Shamogan or whatever the place is, kill two people. And the white nationalists are on his side. He raised $2 million. It's crazy. Or however many $1 million you raised. That is the country we live in. That is the country. Understand that. If you can empathize, if my white brothers and sisters listening to this right now, if you can empathize with that, you can actually be a part of the change. Because there are some people I will never get through to because they can't get past my hue. But you can. But you can. And that is what we need in America. That is what we need in America. Bridge MCP says, neither page has new title after the refresh. All good. Actually, I just did a refresh and it has a new title, Expanding Courts, on both. So I just did it. So please try it again, Bridge MCP. Jessica Taylor says, seeing him inside the store and to know not long after he died was horrific. I cried also. I hear you, Jessica. I hear you. I hear you. You feel it. Michael Rudden, obvious sarcasm. I can really already predict the headlines across satirical sites as well as a right-wing bubble. Black man's life worth less than $20. Won't be long. You know what is so funny, Rudnin? I am going to be waiting for that too. You're so right about that. $20. And the worst part about it is, according to what they're saying, he didn't even know the money was forged. Linda Joe Kessinger, welcome aboard. If Chauvin gets off, there are going to be major problems in this country. And not only that, around the world. I'm telling you, this thing is being watched around the world. Because we claim to be the bastion of democracy. And a cop getting away with this means, forget it. Bridge MCP, so sad listening to the girl who taped it and then we, 9 years old. Yes, Lee Grant. Pundit Ben Shapiro notes that the prosecution will have a hard time proving the felony charges beyond a shadow of a doubt. Lee Grant, I don't know if you've watched it today, but please watch it today. And then put yourself as a juror. Forget about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is a conservative hack. That's what he is. He's not a conservative like you, Lee Grant. You sit down here and you come to our show and you participate in our show. You're a conservative. You're a good guy. We argue. We discuss. We debate. But we can talk issues. Ben Shapiro is a hack. You watch that tape and you tell me if you are a juror sitting down watching that tape with this guy on the neck, and 2 minutes after he dies, the knee stays on the neck. You tell me that if you are a juror, you can sit back and say, oh my God, I don't know if I can convict him on felony. If you say that, Lee Grant, then I've definitely misunderstood who the hell you are. British MCP says, I heard that as well, Lee Grant. Paul Fleming says, I did too. He was handcuffed in the cop car. It needs to be explained why they ever took him out. He didn't fight getting in, but he fought getting out. They should have taken him to the station. It was a premeditated murder. That's why. They knew they were going to take him out and show him a lesson. They were going to beat him close to death. And if he dies, oh well, just another black dude dead. Jessica Taylor, the testimony of the 9-year-old yesterday saying after the paramedic came, they asked him nicely to get off him and Chauvin still didn't move. Then the paramedics had to push him off his neck. Been crying all week. And you know what? I tell you, when I look at this, thank you so kindly, Kay Chager, for becoming a new independent member, independent media supporter. Thank you so kindly. Thank you so kindly for supporting what we do. We definitely could not do this without you. Jessica, I tell you, it was hard to hold back. It was really hard to hold back because this guy's a human being with a family. Human being with a family. It was so hard to hold back. You're so right. I want to, and guys, again, I have other stuff to talk about, but I think we need to explore some of this. And I love the comments that you guys are putting out here. Like I constantly say, I simply have the best listeners, bar none, because you guys are empathetic. You guys understand. You don't let me get away with crap. Thank you very much. You shouldn't ever let me get away with anything. At the same time, we learn together, we hang together. Thank you very much, L Chager 1. Thank you for becoming our newest independent media. Bridge MCP, salute our new person. You know you're the best saluter we get, Bridge MCP. Paul Fleming says, let's see. Linda Jo Kessinger says, I watched the first day of the trial, but chose to just watch highlights from today. I couldn't emotionally handle it anymore. A woman stressed out today. That's what happened. Paul Fleming says, what should have actually happened is the cops just write him a ticket to appear in court. Exactly. But they always treat people of color, black bodies, brown bodies, as a menace. And the truth of the matter is, all people, irrespective of ideology, race, whatever, are good people. But this stuff about criminalizing by hue is one of our biggest problems, and it even appears on TV. Okay, Bridge MCP. Eric Hayes says they retire when they retire. I don't know what you're talking about. Bridge MCP says, and that is wrong, Eric. Lee Grant says, President have the right to appoint justices. Punto final. Yes, a legally elected president. Punto final. Paul Fleming says, make DC and Puerto Rico states. You're right. Supreme Court should have 18-year terms with each president getting 2 nominations per 4-year election cycles. I could live with that. I could live with that. That's a very smart move, Michael Runnin. Should expand on that. We should do some research on that. How come we can elect our own town county judges but not them? Again, power. Democratic rule is, Lee and Joe Kissinger says, democratic rule is majority rule. That this isn't what we have. People need to get angry and become active. From your words to America's voice to America's action. Linda, let's say Bridge MCP, we don't have a government representing the people either. Very true. Eric says, replying to Bridge MCP, he is that wrong. It is a lifetime appointment. Yeah, we need to change the Constitution. Michael Rudden says, Constitution, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2, the President shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties, provide 2/3 of the Senate President concur, and he shall nominate and by and with advice of the consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors or the public ministers, consul, judges, and Supreme Court. Read, we get it. Okay, moving. Wow, we got a lot of messages before I continue. Bridge NCP, yeah, I know, Michael Oak said. Philadelphia International is depressing, old, and dirty. I know. I came through Philadelphia International to go to the Netroots convention, and I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And we are the #1 in the world, right? Eric Hayes, use some of the $900 billion of the $1.9 trillion as this is too much debt thrown out. Modern monetary theory. That's all I'm going to tell you, Eric. Eric, I am ready anytime you are to go. I think you're still in Houston, right, Eric? If you are, we need to go and have a sit. I've already arranged dates with a few local listeners that I'm going to go have some coffee. Supporters. Actually, these are supporters right now. The supporters have first dibs. We're going out to get some coffee now that I'm fully vaccinated, and now that a lot of people are vaccinated, we're going to go outside of Starbucks or a coffee town somewhere in town and have conversations. So I'd like to have one with you too, Eric Hayes, mano a mano. Let's see where else we're at. Eric Hayes, warnings. Bridge MCP, you too is correct. Thank you, Bridge. Egberto, were you talking about Terrence Crutcher? There's been so many such instances, they're kind of blurred together. Yes, sir, you're right. All right, U.S. police kill 1,000 a year. Eric Hayes says, Houston still have a problem and still no answers to the family, but all the cops were removed and face charges. Exactly. So you are in this with us, Eric. You said, tell us, we have several conservative brothers on today too. These are fair people too. They know bad stuff when they see bad stuff. Jessica Taylor, Rudden, wow, that's perspective is number one. Egberto Willis just sent you a pic of dad being arrested. No one died. Thank you, Bridge MCP. I'll see if I get that up after the first video. First, let me ask you. Let me know if this is something you want me to put on the screen, Bridge. I won't get rid of your privacy. So let me know if that is one you want me to show. Bridge, let's see what else here. We got Michael Rudden saying, oh, guys, you guys are filling me up. Jessica says, have empathy and be an ally for change. Absolutely. What white nationalists? That's a broad term. Lee, we have coffee. You know what I'm talking about. Don't act like that, Lee. You know what I'm talking about. We're going to discuss that at coffee. I don't have time to talk about that right now. Marcia Feith, will try my very best. Great, Marcia. Thank you. Bing, bing. Paul Fleming, I was in the grocery store and came upon a person carrying a gun on his waist. I would leave that store immediately. I said to him that I like his weapon, not knowing he was undercover cop. He said I should get one too. I then said that I couldn't in America because if I walked in the store with a gun on my hip, one would call the cops and it may not end well for me. He then said, I understand, and walked away. Yes, Charlie Lindahl, we'll do coffee too. We're opening back up. And now that I'm vaccinated, I'll have coffee with you with a mask on. All my local listeners, we'll arrange coffee dates and we're going to sit down. Some of these coffee dates, let's tape it for our people who are listening online. Some of them will just take some pictures and all that good stuff, all right? So that we can show our people online that whenever I go into your town, I'll let you guys know as soon as we start. Netroots may be away this year. And if I fly to Netroots, and I'll let you guys know what town I'm in so that we can sit down and break some bread together. Let's see. I've done that so many times. You leave Houston, I end up in Minneapolis, or I end up in Atlanta, or end up in Louisiana or whatever, and we meet people that watch the show out there. I then said that I couldn't in America. Look, Paul Fleming, I want you to frame what you just said there. And that guy understood. If you and I walk into a store with a gun, it has happened already. The name of the guy was Whitaker. It happened at a Walmart in Cleveland, or it's in a town in Ohio. I know Michael Rudnan is going to find it. There is a young man who walked into a store in Walmart. He was playing with a BB gun. People called the cops saying there is a black man in the store playing with a gun. They blew him away, killed him. His name was Walker. Look it up. I know Rudden is going to find that one. E2247, welcome aboard. And also welcome aboard Marcia Feith. A Latin anthem sung in Roman Catholic churches on that day, Maundy Thursday, is... what is that about, E227? I give you a message, Madatum in... What are you doing to me, E2247? I can't read that. I don't get that. Anyway, I know you're going to tell me later. But all good. All right. George Floyd was entitled to being treated by Chauvin as a human person. Exactly right. Eric Hayes says you also put a target on you showing off weapons, inviting trouble. Yeah, but I think what Fleming was trying to point out is that the other guy didn't have a concern that somebody would look at him and say, he's coming to kill us. Or there's something wrong there. He lives. The last time that happened, the person died. Okay. Paul Fleming, because I have a lighter skin tone and keep my hair cut low, I've prospered. When I grow an afro, then I run into more problems. I hear you, brother. I hear you. In me, I'm dark skinned, but I speak with an accent and I speak Spanish. Believe it or not, an accent and Spanish, meaning making people hear you talk, is almost as good as what you just said. And the reason why is there's a psychological thing that goes through people's minds. It's a shame. Okay, Berto, give the conservatives who frequent your show a minute. They'll find some excuses to let dirty cops get off every time, especially when their targets are minorities. And what we ought to do, Michael, is let's not give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's bring them into the fold. If Eric, if Lee Grant, and I saw a couple more in here, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Tag 7 said, Egberto was picking up high schoolers the other day, sickening. Huh? Oh, you're talking about your friend. Okay. Oh, my God. I want to read these because you guys are writing it, but I want to get to the other tape as well. But before that, let me go ahead and do, it looks like I'm going to have to do my other tape tomorrow because you all are writing so much stuff that I want to take care of that I don't want to leave anybody hanging. So beforehand, let me go. See, I tell you, you guys take over my damn show all the time because it's yours. You take over my show with all this messaging because it's your show. And I humbly and I enjoy doing it. Because sometimes, if I prepare a show and there's stuff that I can't use today, I can always use it tomorrow. But anyhow, check this out, guys. If you are on YouTube, please consider joining the fold. Like you see on the screen there, our great El Chager 1 just went ahead and became a new subscriber to Politics Done Right on our YouTube channel. If you're on the YouTube page right now, please click that join button. Click that join button and become a member. If you don't see a join button, I've just placed the politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. If you click on politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, you can also become a member of our PDR Posse. And by the way, the PDR Posse has its own cup designed by our PDR Posse leader, Bridge MCP. And you see it on the screen right now. Here is the link for the cup if you want to go ahead and get a cup. Bridge MCP is the one who designed that cup. And if you take a look at that cup, you can see that her picture, you see Linda E., you see my brother Roberto Lewis, and my other brother there is Norman Reynolds. Have a lot of people getting the cups. Please, folks, get the cup. That's the link on the screen. Now, you can also support us via Patreon. You can simply go to our Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. Patreon. Or you can also go ahead and support us via PayPal. Okay, I think she wants me to show that picture. So what I'm going to do right now is as I'm speaking to you, I can multitask most of the times. All I'm asking you guys, oh, by the way, that thing on the screen right now, the book on the screen right now, you can actually get the book on the screen at this Amazon link right here. I'm putting it in there. Please consider getting the book at that link. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. And I trust you. It works. A lot of people who bought the book, and we've sold, by the way, we've sold a lot of the books. This is my highest selling book thus far. Thank you very much, Tom C. This is the highest selling book so far. Oh, by the way, if you go ahead and if you subscribe, look, it's only $1.99 to subscribe to our YouTube channel. But if you go for $4.99, I'll send you, once you send me your email, an e-copy of all our books. And every time we create a new book, which we're doing right now, you'll get a new e-copy of our books. So at the subscription level of $4.99, all our e-books belong to you. Just letting you know. But if you just want to say, I just want to do a little coffee, it's $1.99. Under $2, $1.99. But if you want all our, and by the way, and if you go for another level, you can get all our hard copies free by being a subscriber to the show. By the way, you can also support us via PayPal. And thank you for asking me to do that, Tom C. Love you guys. You can support us via politicsandright.com/PayPal, politicsandright.com/PayPal. And if you want to get around the middleman, you can support us via politicsandright.com/store. Okay, let me go back and start talking to you guys and answering your questions because John Crawford, thank you very much. Crawford is the name. He went into a Walmart. He was playing with a BB gun. Some people saw him playing with the BB gun. They called the cops and say, there's a black guy. Thank you, Eric, for buying the cup. I appreciate that. They saw this black guy in the store. They called the cop and said, there's this black guy in the store with a gun, It's a BB gun. He's looking at the BB gun. He may be buying the BB gun. The cops run into the store. They simply looked at this guy playing with the BB gun and shot him to death. John Crawford, look that up. And this is not, it happens over and over again. It's just like Paul Fleming just said. The reason he does not wear a gun is because he can't. He can't. A white and black arrest for, exactly right. Okay, let's see. If, like Trump said, that applies to cops, I will kill someone in the middle of the street and get away with it. Now we're going to see if it's tested. You are so right, Paul Fleming. You're so right. Okay, I'm going back up to where I was before. Okay, let's see. Let's come down. I'm going back. I'm answering all of your messages, folks. Let's see. Bree says, I read that one already. Let's see. Charlie Lindahl says, it is not fair to characterize all conservatives as being evil and heartless. I have many good friends who label themselves conservatives, but are horrified as all of us with the trial and the content. And that's what I try to get across, including what I try to get across in my book. And I understand my brother, Michael Rudnin, because, what gets exposed, the conservatives that talk the loudest are the ones who get attention. But the conservatives that are just conservatives in their beliefs, in what they want. And again, I try to explain this to people. There are conservative arguments that have just as much merit as progressive arguments. And the only question is, which one does Americans prefer? And what we prefer, we take the majority, what we prefer. And where we can sort of negotiate to make the other side that loses a bit happy, we do it. Example, I believe personally that we should have a government orders of magnitude larger than the largest corporation. We, the people, must always have much more power than any corporation. That's what I believe. And that calls for big government. I am for big government. I want we the people to be big. I want we the people to provide as much services as we can to people as people continue to work, as people continue to do all the things they need to do. But if we have good health care, if we have good transportation, if we have good energy, and all these things that I want to be handled under the domain of government, we can then have the best pizza shops. We can have the best technology shops. We can have the best telephone maker. We can have the best of all these other things. But for the basics of life sustenance, let's have we the people in control. A bifurcated economy. Big government. Big government. A lot of people have been taught to believe that big government is bad. I don't think it's bad. But you can have a legitimate argument about that. And a conservative will say, no, I want small government. I think big government is corrupting. I can prove that big government is no more corrupting than big corporations. Look at, let's say, what Exxon does to pay people off, to pollute and all that sort of stuff. They just do it in a very esoteric form. I can prove that. But again, what's debatable here is if you want small government, that's a choice. And if you can convince most people to have less services from a government, to have less of a safety net, if people are willing to live under those conditions, then by all means, they are conservative and they want that. But when it comes to certain issues, what conservative stands for many times, and I'm not talking about my conservatives here or whatever, but it's just utter evil. When you talk about Texas being offered the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, Texas, the state with the most uninsured people in the country, and you say no, which in effect is a death sentence on at least 2,000 or I don't know how many hundreds of citizens every year in your state. That is evil. That's a conservative policy that is evil. It kills. And if you can't see that, how can you call yourself pro-life? But anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow since I can't play it today. Paul Fleming says, I used to want my two boys to move out because they're 26 and 28, who actually are men, but now I'm rethinking this. I hear you. It's amazing. My daughter told me the other day, Dad, we should all just move to Canada. Because things like this is not as bad in Canada, which is true. If progressives, Charles Lindahl, if we progressive generalize conservatives as evil, we're never going to get over our partisanship. Again, I don't want us to tell about conservatives being evil. That's why I wrote that book. I wrote that book for two reasons. I wanted us to know the economics and the politics. And I wanted us to know some of the psychology of the way people's minds work. And then I wanted folks to see the experiences that I've had because I live in a very conservative area. Most of my friends in this particular area are conservatives, and we can converse and we can respect each other very well. That's the purpose of the book. So, Charles Lee Lindahl, I think you're exactly right in that we cannot characterize our conservative brothers and sisters as evil. But there are evil conservatives, and by the way, there are evil progressives as well. The only difference between an evil conservative and an evil progressive is the evil progressive does not have the cloth. And I'll explain that one a little later because I need to talk to other people. Lee Grant says, Shapiro, who Egberto calls a hack, graduated from Harvard Law 2007. And you know who else graduated from a Ivy League school? Ted Cruz. And Ted Cruz is another hack. You know, I tell you a story. And this is a quick story because I want to get to other people. My first job after the oil industry was for NASA. I was in charge of building something called the transport layer. That is what connected the TCP on several computers that they were going to use on the space station. So I had to design this layer code that actually made several different computers talk the same level of TCP/IP. And I remember having a whole lot of guys there's a guy from Harvard, there's a guy from Princeton, and everybody would come out and say, hey, you know, John is from Harvard, and this other guy is from Princeton, right? Cool. The thing about me and a lot of us, you know, most of us were the foreign ones, right? That never meant much to us, that you went to Harvard or you went to University of Texas. It didn't mean anything to us. Because, you know, it's like we have overcome, man, you know, and we did it all. We were foreigners coming here to college, and it didn't mean much. And I tell you what was interesting. When I was at NASA, the people that performed the best in engineering weren't the folks from Harvard or Princeton. The people that performed the best were from our good old public schools. We Texas, Texas A&M. There were some from, what's the name of this school? There's another popular engineering school. I don't remember the name of it. We were the ones excelling. I told you guys a story about Wollongong and TCP/IP and me thinking I was going to a meeting not knowing anything with all these highfalutin guys. I spent the whole weekend learning all the designs of TCP/IP, going to the meeting, and I was the only one who knew. They took me from one job to the other. One job stole me from the other. Why? Again, we have to get away from those things thinking. I look at all the people that are watching us right now. All of you that college educated or not. It doesn't really mean much to me, and that I've learned over the years. It's what's here and here. So, Senor Lee Grant, that he went to Harvard, Shapiro, means absolutely nothing to me. And it shouldn't mean anything to any of my folks listening here. They say, oh, he went to Harvard. That should not allow him to control what you think, because you think he went to an Ivy League school and that gave him some sort of a thing over you. It does not. I always tell people I trust my garbage men more than I trust the stockbroker I used to have. I don't have it anymore. I'm a poor man now. But all spent on this, guys. But anyhow, so what I'm saying is, my garbage man, the kind of conversations I've had with a garbage man, the kind of conversations I've had with a gardener, the type of conversation I've had with all these guys, real world things, right? As an engineer, I always approach things as an engineer. The kind of conversations I've had with waiters, waitresses, have been enlightening, have actually allowed me to do some of my work better. Because one thing we have not learned in this country is that title means little. Work and what you do for fellow man means more than anything else. I tell you, I had to learn that myself now. I remember when I just got out of the UT, I'm an engineer from UT, the number one engineering school in Texas, man. Number one engineering public school in Texas. Oh, I'm Egberto, University of Texas. Doesn't mean crap. What means is how can you relate to other people? How can you actually get something done? Always remember that. Don't ever let titles get to you. My daughter saw me interviewing a governor at Netroots one time, and a governor candidate from New York, from the woman from Sex and the City that was running for governor in New York. And she saw the interview on the net, and she's like, Dad, do you know who you were talking to? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, but you were like, she's just your buddy or whatever. I'm like, what am I supposed to be like? If I'm interviewing President Biden, or I'm interviewing my gardener, or I'm interviewing my garbage man, for me, it's an interview with another human being that's doing something important for society. If you can get that humility in your head, and I don't mean just talk it, but mean it, man, would this be a better country. Okay, I got to go through all of this stuff fast now. Let's see. E24E, I will buy your cup. Thank you, buddy. Let's see. There are over 1,000 small plane crashes a year. End aviation. Oh, boy. Not going to go there. Texas DPS officer slain even though he stopped to help. Yes, I understand that. Let's not use... what do you call those incidentals? Anecdotal. Let's not use anecdotals to make policy. We can't do that. There's a cop every now and then that is killed by a bad person. But a lot of cops kill people of color for no reason. Okay? So let's not make anecdotals be the case. Wow. Egberto, well, I sent the pic, so maybe don't announce my name, peeps. Here will no. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do it tomorrow because we're running out of time, Bridge MCP. But thank you for sending it. We'll keep this conversation up. Charlie says, come on over to the BLM protest in the park every other weekend in the Woodlands. Oh man, I didn't realize you're still doing that every weekend, Charlie. I'll come over to the Woodlands. When is it? Let's see. BLM every other weekend. Let me know the next one, Charlie. Bridge MCP, end up in New York so Mike and I can meet up. Yes, we're going to come to... I actually have relatives in New York. I've got to come to visit. When I come to visit, we'll go for some coffee, Bridge MCP. Let's see. Going down. If I miss you, forgive me, but we're running out of time. My fault. Let's see. He was a white officer. I got you, Paul Fleming. Okay, Biden and the Democrats should add 4 members, liberal members, to the U.S. Supreme Court. The conservatives have packed the courts with conservative judges. That's true. I am all for that. I want 4 new members. They're likely not going to do it, but that's what I would like us to do. Egberto is how it goes. Wow, you guys sent me so many messages. Love you all, man. Love you all. Paul Fleming says, an accent means you speak more than one language, but unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't get it or understand. We're the dummies because we only speak one. I won't call it dummies. What happened is America is the empire. The empire don't ever feel like they have to bend. All of us other people from around the world, we know that we have to adapt to America. That's the problem with being the most powerful. And eventually you lose your power, because within your power, what happens is you say, oh, well, we don't have to do it. Tom C says, Egberto, great show today. Tell the group how to get access to free books with upgraded PDR membership. I did. Thank you very much for saying that, brother. Let's see. I'm going down. I'm scrolling. Eric Hayes. Mr. R, welcome aboard. Christian conservatives deserve all the scrutiny for pick and choosing their doctor and they want to follow. They consistently ignore the good in Christianity and focus on the punitive. Christian conservatives deserve all the scrutiny. I think so. Let's see. Linda Jo Kessinger says, it makes me angry when people make fun of others who are speaking English with an accent. These people speak at least 2 languages. Who is intelligent? That's a true statement. Pardon should expand on that cream. I don't know what. Cash rules everything around me. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. Mr. R says, I'm going to have to use that one. Cherry pick Bible. Paul Fleming, small government means large companies, aka oligarchs, will be running the county as they are now. So we must, for our democracy to be kept in control by we the people. You nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it. Macaron, Egberto, evil progressives. Yes, please expand on that, because they are a rarity. Yes, they are a rarity. But I think I told you that story about me at a Netroots convention, what happened when Bernie Sanders, Black Lives Matter came in to challenge Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders had not yet taken a position. I want to say on Bernie Sanders' behalf, by that night, we went downstairs in that convention with 15,000 people. And within the 6 hours, Bernie Sanders had a message. He had a policy. That is what Black Lives Matter did in Arizona in 2015. So Bernie was very reactive, very moving forward. But a lot of the progressives there were pissed off at BLM for coming to a progressive event and challenging the powers to actually take on their issues. And I got some really nasty commentary, and I wrote about it at Daily Kos. Eric Hayes, respect one's right and voice and choose to listen. Agreed? It's Big Red Bible. Let's see. Jessica replying, keyword is respect. Absolutely, Jessica. Michael Rudden, if you've got an Ivy degree, people expect you to be competent. If you get a lesser school, you have to be twice as good to get the same rewards. There's some truth to that. Lindahl says, Lee Grant says, Soros could be an evil progressive. No, but he's not evil. That's the thing. He could be, but he's not. Charlie Lindahl, not sure about evil, greedy perhaps, but Rod Blagojevich was a Democrat. Yes, he was. And he was selling Obama's seat, right? Eric Hayes says those big companies helped this big past election. Yes, they did. University of Tennessee. I love University of Tennessee. They actually have the same color, almost the same color as my school, University of Texas. Lee Grant, Soros is a right-wing bubble bogeyman. All right, coming down. Eric, your gardener and garbage person as just as important as an executive, as we are all equal. Amen, Eric. You see, Eric, that's our conservative who just said that. I love him. See? That's our conservative who just said that. All right, let's continue. AVQ said, Charles Lindahl Rogg wasn't a progressive. Why you guys are giving me so much work today? Jessica Taylor, humility is a gift, not given. It's a gift. Thank you, Jessica. Paul Fleming, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. Absolutely so. Pardon, I won't be coming out until I get my second vaccination shot. Now, I won't be in New York till you get your second vaccination shot, Rudden. But if I come to New York, Rudden, and I give you a call, if you don't show up, man, I'm going to be pissed. Not really. I know you could be busy. Who knows? Charlie Lindahl, Super Mario Bros. Fans are panicking over rumors that Mario is going to die. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch Super Mario stuff. 15-member Supreme Court, okay. Yes, it's okay. Joseph Murphy, welcome aboard. And small aircraft are highly regulated, licensure by flight. Oh, you guys are so complete. So complete. I'm almost done. Breach MCP, this was a great show. Talking and reading with us interactive. Like it. Thank you very much. Listen, I had a show prepared for you guys. Look at what you did to me. But it's your show. It is always going to be your show. It will always be your show. Folks, please remember, support us, please. If you're on YouTube, the whole show, I only got one video played for the show, guys, because of you. But that's okay. We'll play them tomorrow. But anyhow, look, folks, please support the show. Please click on join to become a member or a YouTube member. If you don't see that join button on your channel, or if you're on YouTube, just click politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. If you want to support us on Patreon, which we need a lot more of, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon, Patreon. You can also support us via PayPal. That is politicsdoneright.com/PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Okay, if you want to support us with our products, books, and everything else, go to our store, politicsdoneright.com/store. Oh, we'd rather hear you than pre-recorded videos. And you know what? I do some pre-recorded videos because I want to put some other stuff in because I don't want it to be only me. That is funny. Hey, look, I love you all. You're all the show. You're all the show. Remember that. This is a place that you own. This is a place that you always have a voice. And by the way, you don't only have a voice in these messages that you put out here. You can always call in and get into a voice. And if anytime you want, we'll just go ahead and do a Zoom and have the Zoom over YouTube and Facebook as well. If you want to have a face-to-face anytime soon, I have that. I'm supposed to be scheduling that all with our PDR Posse people, but we'll do it. Look, my name is Egberto Willies. I thank you guys for being here. I know you could be anywhere else. I'm honored that you're with me because I think we will continue to have a lot to talk about. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? What am I again? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.